Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. You guys showed so much love on last week's attacking tier list when we went through strikers and then we also went through wingers that I've decided today to do another tier list. We've got dream signing, likely signing, unlikely signing, keep and not wanted, and we're talking about central based midfielders. We've got a range of different attacking midfielders, defensive midfielders, because obviously Chelsea will need to go into the market either in the next week in January or in the summer. So this is the 23-24 Chelsea midfield lineup. So if you want to go and watch the attacking one and then watch this one, the midfield one, hit the like button if you like these tier lists, subscribe if you're new, and then by the end of this little mini January tier list series where we're kind of predicting and throwing some players out, bringing some players in, you guys will get to see from this little mini series who I think the Chelsea squad will be come the start of the 23-24 season. So without any further ado, we begin with a player who I think could be a likely signing at Chelsea Football Club. This light is a bit bright. It's very, very bright in my face right now. So Edson Alvarez, a player that Chelsea tried to sign from Ajax. I've put him in the likely signings category. I think if Chelsea try and do business during this January window, then Edson Alvarez is an affordable target for the Blues. A player who expressed his interest to join the club last summer. We missed out on him, and I think when we look at the way this season's gone with injuries, frailties with that midfield, Edson Alvarez would be a good signing, and I think he would be a likely signing due to the price tag and the prices of various other targets. We move into ReubenLoftusCheek. Now, obviously we've merged here players that are currently midfielders at Chelsea and potential targets moving forward. Ruben is a player who I think has been very unfortunate. Injuries again have kind of scuppered his path back into the first team. He was getting a lot of minutes under Graham Potter before the recent injury. And because of Ruben's versatility, ReubenLoftusCheek is one of those players that I would like Chelsea to keep. I think at the moment, a lot of people are narrow-mindedly approaching this one thinking, well, we're just going to have to get rid of loads of them because clearly the midfield's a problem and we need to just get rid of everybody and bring in loads more players. Chelsea need to be careful, and I think Ruben is a player who wants to be a Chelsea player, would be happy to not have to play every single game, and obviously Chelsea aspire to play 60-plus games a season. That's what we'd love. And I think Ruben is someone, because of that versatility, ability to go forward, ability to hold a bit more, and to be a wing-back option, Ruben would be kept. Franck Kessie from Barcelona. I don't want Franck Kessie at Chelsea. He is an option. He wouldn't be expensive. Went to Barcelona on a free. It's not quite planned out, or panned out, should I say, the way that they planned it to pan out. It was a tough one there. I put myself in a tough situation. Franck Kessie goes into the bottom category, but let me know, of course, with the tier list as ever, if you disagree, if you agree, how would yours look? Let me know in the comments down below. Eduardo Camavinga. There's been a couple of rumours circulating in the last few days that Camavinga was wanted by both Arsenal and Chelsea. His agent has since come out and said that there's no chance Camavinga leaves. He is considered untouchable at Real Madrid. Ancelotti has also backed this one. Camavinga, of course, would be a phenomenal signing. I think Chelsea, when we were looking at Tchouaméni before Camavinga also went to Real Madrid, that would have been the dream. Tchouaméni, Camavinga would probably solve Chelsea's midfield issues, but it's an unlikely signing. So he's the first one in tier number 3. We move into Lewis Hall. Lewis Hall is a midfielder. For those of you that don't know, coming up through the youth, Lewis Hall played in midfield. We've seen him played at left back, left wing back so far. We saw him in the midfield for the first time against Liverpool at the weekend. And it was a bit of a shame that he didn't have a good game. He gets substituted off for Mudryk with half an hour still to go. But I think Lewis Hall is a player with so much potential. He clearly wants to make it at Chelsea. He tries so hard. And I think looking forward, the future's very bright for Lewis Hall. And I would keep him at Chelsea Football Club. So he goes in with Ruben. We move into Andre Santos, another one who Chelsea have got to keep. If you don't know anything about this guy, he's one of our, I think, the first signing we made this January. 12 million from Vasco da Gama. The man is currently the captain of the Brazil under-20 squad. He scored, I think, the other day in Brazil. He's one of those players who at the moment I think Chelsea would benefit from having in the first team squad. I think he's really, really good from what I've seen. The issue at the minute is the work permit, but I would have Santos in and around at least Chelsea Football Club next season. Maybe he starts off in the reserves. We're currently top of the league in Premier League 2. And I think Santos would be a very, very good option. I've not included everybody. He's obviously a new signing. We've got players like Kaisado currently doing exceptionally well in the reserves. Lewis Hall's obviously broke through, so I've included Hall and Santos. We don't want to be selling this kid. We've just gone and bloody bought the bloke. Jude Bellingham. Now, Jude Bellingham is the dream signing for absolutely every Premier League club. I think at the moment, because of Chelsea's pursuit of Enzo Fernandez, there might be a little bit of this where Chelsea were linked with Bellingham, and then due to going for Fernandez, we don't hear Chelsea's name being used in the conversation for Jude Bellingham. A lot of the talk is, will he stay a little bit longer at Dortmund? Probably not. Real Madrid are one of the favourites. Liverpool are also heavily touted to be searching for Bellingham's signature or gunning for Bellingham's signature. And I think that when we look at this summer, Liverpool, they're in the same position as us right now. That 0-0 draw that we saw at Anfield at the weekend isn't a surprise. Liverpool are a team in transition. Chelsea, team in transition too. But Bellingham is the dream signing. I think Jude Bellingham is such a complete midfielder. Already, at such a young age, we see just how brilliant he was for England in the World Cup. He's such a talisman for Dortmund. I think he scored on his first game back after the 2.5-month Bundesliga break. Bellingham is the dream. Do I think it's likely? Probably not. But maybe Chelsea do go in for Bellingham in the summer. So for the 23-24 season, it's possible. Don't really think it's that likely, but he's the dream, in my opinion. Ruben Neves, I also think is an unlikely signing for Chelsea. I think Ruben Neves is a quality footballer. I think he's probably playing under the standard and level that he should be by remaining at Wolves. And I think Chelsea are probably not likely to go in for Ruben Neves. I think it's more likely that we'd see Ruben Neves go to a Manchester United. I even think there is more chance that he'd fit in better at Liverpool as well. But I think Neves is a quality player. And I think as Chelsea look to rebuild that midfield, I certainly think at least 2 players will come in, whether that is across both this January window and hopefully early in the summer window. I want to see Chelsea in the summer, regardless of what business we do in Jan. I want to see us get business done as soon as possible. When we had Mourinho second time round and we won the league, we got Fabregas, Costa signed early. When we won the league under Antonio Conte, there was a clear plan. Transfers were made early. And even though they weren't the best ones, I'd say for Conte, did an incredible job. And I think Chelsea in the summer, regardless of who it is we bring in, the earlier, the better. Graham Potter needs as much time as possible to mould this squad into what he wants. I put Neves in tier number 3. Mateo Kovacic has come under a lot of scrutiny recently, but I think Kovacic is a player that Chelsea need to keep. With Kovacic, you get those players who, yes, he doesn't get loads of goals. Yes, he doesn't even get that many assists. Yes, he struggles with that final ball into the final third. But I think Kovacic is such a hard-working midfielder. And Chelsea, as much as we're doing a clear-out, as much as we keep mentioning this word transition, Kovacic is one of those evergreen players who I think game by game, as long as he's fit, you can get an absolutely world-class performance out of him. He's going to be good against the big teams. Press resistant. I know it's been overdone to the hills and back and until the cows come home. But I would keep Kovacic at the club. I think if there's anyone who shouldn't be sold, Mateo Kovacic is one of those players. And I think when we look in this keep category now, Ruben and Kovacic are the 2 senior figures that Chelsea need to keep. Because yeah, we might need to bring in 2 new ones to be the starters. But that doesn't mean we can't have backup. And Kovacic, I think, should stay. Lewis Hall and Andre Santos are still in that kind of development category for now. The future, should we say, of Chelsea Football Club. Jorginho is the next one. I'm putting Jorginho into the not wanted category. It sounds like such an extreme category to have, but I didn't want to just have sale, and I didn't want 6 tiers. Because Frank Kessie, we don't have him, so we can't sell him. I just don't want him. Jorginho, I think it's probably time for Chelsea to move on from Jorginho. I think he's been a brilliant servant of the club. He's vice captain right now under Azpilicueta. Maybe that should also be Thiago Silva because of the consistent man of the match brilliance that we see from him. but I think it's time for Chelsea to move on. Jorginho was brought in as that niche signing under Maurizio Sarri. A lot of money. He's won the Champions League for us. Tries very hard, but I think he's too slow in the middle. He won possession back a lot against Liverpool, but again, I think he sits far too deep, and Chelsea struggle to progress with the ball because Jorginho is always too deep. We move into Yves Bissouma, a player that's come up in conversation during this January window, with Chelsea reportedly looking to try and send Hakim Ziyech the other way. Yves Bissouma at Spurs this season has not really been the signing that Tottenham wanted him to be. There was a lot of positive outlook from Spurs fans with Bissouma coming in playing under Antonio Conte. I think Bissouma's a great player, and I think before the start of this season, I probably would have wanted to see Chelsea go for him when we look at the holes that we've got in the midfield. However, as of right now, I certainly think there are far better options available for Chelsea Football Club, so I don't want to see us go and poach an unwanted Spurs midfielder. Conor Gallagher. This was a tough one because I think Conor is one of those midfielders, again, who epitomises everything that Chelsea need right now, which is fight and determination and a desire to be a Chelsea footballer. So for that reason, I've put Conor in the keep category. It's looking pretty fat in the keep category right now, but I don't know if Chelsea are going to move forward playing with a pivot. Are we going to go with a 4-2-3-1? Will we see a 4-3-3, which means we need three midfielders across the centre? And I think Conor, there's still so much potential in there. And unless a significant bid comes in, and I'm talking like 50 million quid, maybe. Palace have been rumoured to want Conor that much. They could be willing to spend 50 million. If that comes in, Chelsea might be tempted to sell. But I'd like to see Conor stay at Chelsea. I think he works hard, and I think, again, it's not just working hard. I think he gets into good positions, and he's got that tenacity from a central midfielder that Chelsea need. Enzo Fernandez is, to me, another dream signing. I really wanted Chelsea in the early stages of this window to go all out, gung-ho, to sign Enzo Fernandez. Semi-glad we didn't at this point, because we've then gone and spent 100 million on Mudryk, who I think looks like a serious, real deal level of talent. Enzo, I think, once again, bringing it into that same conversation as Conor. I think Conor's got the same fight as Enzo, but Enzo's already got the end product at 21 years old. His passing range is sensational. His fight and tackling in the middle is second to none, really, at the moment in some of Europe's top leagues. His stats are phenomenal, and I think Enzo Fernandez would be a dream Chelsea signing. Very different kind of player to that of Jude Bellingham, but I think Enzo Fernandez is exactly the mould of footballer that Chelsea Football Club need. We move into Moises Kaisado, away from the dream signing. I think Moises Kaisado is a likely Chelsea signing. We might even see this week Chelsea up the intensity of the pursuit of Moises Kaisado from Brighton. Where are we at right now with this deal? Chelsea wanted to offer around 65 million. Brighton not willing to accept anything less than 75 million to sell the player in January. We got to remember, Brighton are having such a good season. They're currently in 6th place in the Premier League table. By the way, Thiago Silva, the painting, he's still there in the background. Let me know in the comments down below if you want to see more of the paintings and if you might be interested in purchasing this one-of-a-kind piece. My mate is an artist and he's only made one for each player. So let me know who you want to see the paintings of in the comments down below. Moises Kaisado, I think, would be a phenomenal Chelsea signing. I think he's Premier League proven. Phenomenal. Maybe I'd probably overcut that one a bit there. I think Bellingham and Enzo Fernandez are phenomenal signings. Moises Kaisado would be a very good signing to help Chelsea's midfield. Alexis Mac Allister is another player I've put in there. I think it's an unlikely Chelsea signing. I think the priorities are certainly more defence-minded midfielders. I put Mac Allister in because not many people are talking about Alexis Mac Allister as a potential signing right now, yet the player had such an incredible World Cup. He's had a phenomenal season for Brighton, and I'm not just throwing big words at you guys there, because he really has been brilliant. I think it's an unlikely signing, but let me know in the comments down below. Would you want Chelsea to go for Alexis Mac Allister? Mason Mount. If you didn't see yesterday's video, I talked about the current issues surrounding Mason Mount. I think Mount is going to be best suited as he develops in his career, playing slightly deeper. I think instead of having him play that final ball, I think having him play in a midfield three is something we might see Chelsea explore more. And I would keep Mason Mount at the club. When I look at this now, there's still 6 players in there. And I think maybe that's too many. I think if we look at this and you look at the tier list now, I think Ruben and Connor could well be players that are sold. But at this point, I can't say that I don't want them at the club. I think if good enough bids come in, Conor Gallagher and Ruben Loftus-Cheek are the two most likely to slip out of that keep category. We move into Romeo Lavia of Southampton, a player that Chelsea like. And I think right now, it is another likely signing that we could see at Chelsea, because I don't think Southampton would be asking for too heavy or too high of a figure at this moment in time. I think Lavia's a good player, but again, I don't know if he's a player who immediately comes in and makes Chelsea a significantly better team. I think it would once again be another player bought in for the future. And we've already got Lewis Hall, Conor Gallagher, Andre Santos. So it's a likely signing, but it's one that I'm not so enthusiastic about at this moment of time. Declan Rice, dream signing once again. And at the moment, I don't think West Ham are going down, but they're certainly not going to be playing European football next season. So I think it's an absolute given that Declan Rice leaves the club next summer. I don't think Chelsea will be able to get him in January. I think there's no way that West Ham sell right now. Arsenal are currently the favourites for Declan Rice. And again, I think that has a lot to do with Chelsea's expressed interest and move towards Enzo Fernandez. Declan Rice, I think this summer is the right time to go in for him. I think he definitely leaves. And I think if he goes to any of Chelsea's rivals in the Premier League, he immediately makes them better. And he's everything Chelsea need. And I think seeing him at Chelsea once again is exactly what Declan Rice would probably love above any other move. So Chelsea, get the checkbook out, get contacting West Ham United. Let's take their best player, let's take their captain. He immediately elevates this Chelsea team. N'Golo Kante. This is when the keep category just becomes so stacked that maybe we've got to move other players around. Look at this keep category, guys, and let me know in the comments down below. If you've got to sell 2 of them, who do you sell? I'd love to see Kante stay at Chelsea. I want N'Golo Kante to finish his career at Chelsea. I still think there is such a phenomenal player there when he's fully fit, and I really want Chelsea to keep him. And I think that is it. N'Golo Kante was the ending, and I just kind of anticlimaxed it. I'm sorry, but your Chelsea 23-24 GBFC midfield tier list is here. I think I've kept far too many players there, and I think only 2 of the dream signings could be feasible, probably only 1. If I had to make a prediction, I think Chelsea might probably get Declan Rice and Moises Kaisado, I think. And then as a result of that, we probably have to sell at least 2 of those players in the keep category. So yeah, let me know your 23-24 Chelsea midfield tier list in the comments down below. Who do you think should be moved from that keep category? It's stacked. It's far too stacked, I think. But yeah, we're building for the future. We're buying for the future. But we also need for the now. Will we sign in January, or will they both come in the summer? I think we need one in January. But let me know. Hit the like button on this video. Subscribe if you are new. Come on, you Blues.